Happy Conference Championship Sunday. Ear to the Ground Sports presents to you Conference Championship Weekend. We'll just call it something simple. It is what it is, something nice and easy. Shay with me today. Shay, how are you today?
Doing good. Excited. 2 more hours till football. I can't wait.
Yeah, we're down to 4, and maybe not a super shock on all of them. There's some of the teams that are out. I mean, like the Bills, everybody kind of had them written in for this weekend already, and 2 weeks from now, and they're gone. So we got some interesting matchups. Just want to start out with this. People who live in the DirecTV Providence market and a lot of businesses are being hurt. And this started before the baseball playoffs. I can't understand on God's green earth why this is still going on. So these people in the tweet, you need to tweet and tell them, fix this. Fix this, because you're killing businesses. We should be out in a packed house right now. And you know what? Places have to turn people away and say, no, we actually don't have the NFC Championship game. That is absolutely sad. And, you know, if this started this week and they were squabbling, whatever. But, I mean, we're going back to October. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. So, let's get this fixed. Tweet the people involved. Get everybody at least their Super Bowl. Or maybe we can work a miracle by 3 o'clock. So, let's see what happens. But seriously, find your 2 most mature people and get it done. That's all I ask. We'll start off in the NFC. I know this pains you. I know this is not easy for you. San Francisco at Philly, top 2 seeds. San Francisco at Philly. Brock Purdy versus Jalen Hurts. Not really sure we'd be saying that for the NFC Championship before the season. I guarantee there is nobody who had it. Brock Purdy versus Jalen Hurts is the quarterback situation. But we'll start on the other side. Does the Slay-Bradbury combo make this a Kittle and running back game with their ability to cover Ayuk and Samuel?
So, definitely Slay and Bradbury are going to lock up the outsides for sure. So, probably 2 of the best cornerbacks right now, the best duo cornerbacks in football, I would say. And good news out of Philadelphia was Maddox is actually returning, their slot corner. So he's a guy that could probably have a big role, maybe spying on CMC or covering Kittle. Those 2 guys are definitely going to be a point of emphasis for the 49ers. I would say Ayuk should be taken out of the game plan with either of Slay or Bradbury on him. And if I had to pick, I don't know, CMC's banged up right now. He has his calf injury. Elijah Mitchell, I don't even know if he's playing because Tevin Coleman got called up. So there's a lot of questions that make this game even more interesting on matchups, because San Fran's not your typical 2 out. They don't have 2 dominant wide receivers because Debo's like a gadget guy, and Juwan Jennings is like a third down possession type wide receiver, not really a dominant guy.
Yeah, I think a huge factor is Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I couldn't believe they got him for what they did. Kind of the Swiss Army knife, do a little bit of everything for you. You want him to play back at safety, he can do that. You want him to come up in the box, you want to run some banjo coverage on tight end in the back. He's just one of the keys, and I look at him. We'll talk about that later, but is something important in this game. Moving to the next topic. Sorry, my dogs. So I had a cleaning person here yesterday. Because unfortunately, I'm selling this house. It's a long story, and anybody who knows me knows why. So my headphones are somewhere in the house. She did a wonderful job. They're probably where they belong, rather than places I would put them, above the fridge, here, there, the other places. So we got a little Stark in the background who's looking for attention today. So that's what that comes down to. San Francisco at Philly. Is the front four of San Francisco the key? Allows big coverage to the Hurts weapons.
Yeah, San Fran definitely has a good front four. But Philadelphia's offensive line is one of the best offensive lines that I've seen in football in recent memory. They're fast, they're physical, and they have continuity. I mean, that'll happen when you come out with Christmas albums together as a group. You know, you need that continuity right there. So I think, yeah, the front four is good in San Francisco, but I would take Philadelphia's offensive line, and I say they win that matchup. No one's talking about that. They seem to be, oh, San Fran's defense, this, and then when the pressure is not there, they have a mobile quarterback, which kills San Francisco. If you look at all their losses, they lost to mobile quarterbacks. Granted, they had some injuries on the defense, but this dates back to last year, the year before. Kyler Murray used to give them issues. He was hurt this year. Russell Wilson's in Denver, but he used to give them issues, and he did this year when they beat them. So all in that tells you that if they're not getting pressure, that secondary in San Francisco is going to get burnt. DK Metcalf killed them the first game of the playoffs. CeeDee Lamb killed them last week, and now they're getting a better wide receiver than both in A.J. Brown. You could argue that it's close, but I would say A.J. Brown is definitely the better of the three. And then you throw in Devontae Smith. If you want to double team A.J. Brown, then good luck dealing with one of the best route runners in football. At 170 pounds, the guy still will burn you and get open. And then you have Dallas Goedert. So that's going to be the key for San Fran, but I don't see them getting pressures like the media is hyping it up for. And Bosa hasn't had a sack in 3 games. He's getting pressures, but seems like he's not getting to the quarterback like he was in the earlier parts of the season.
Air to the Ground Sports here, Conference Championship weekend. Anything you want to put in the comment section. We'll discuss with you. And thanks again for the following. We should probably have that streaming underneath.
Yeah, absolutely. 1K. It's amazing.
1K, almost at 1.1K, and just growing every day. Not that I'm a rapper, but so as we build off that, does Philly mix it up with their running back situation and how important is Hurts' legs? And I always talk about the screen game against a good pass rush.
Yeah, I think you just nailed it right there. The screen game is what's going to have to happen. San Fran is number 1 against the run. Miles Sanders has had a great season, but those linebackers, they're quick to the ball, and they could read a run very quick. So Warner and Greenlaw will be back there for the running game. So it's really going to be on Jalen Hurts, his legs. Last year when they played each other, his first year as a starter, he had 82 rushing yards. Did not have close to the weapons he has now, was not the player he was now. And looking through my research this week, I looked at some games and some similar matchups that this game resembles for Philadelphia as far as the defense they'll be facing. And the Titans were the team that popped up. They didn't allow a 100-yard rusher since Saquon Barkley in week 1. So their run defense was dominant, and Philadelphia really couldn't run on them. So what did they do? They let Hurts sling the ball, and he threw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and had a rushing touchdown. But the yardage, I don't think one player had over 30 yards for Philadelphia. So I think they're going to come in with a similar game plan and try to stretch out this defense. And like you said, the screen game, if they are to get the running backs involved, I think that's the best way, would be get them involved in the screen game, push it out wide right, wide left. Don't really go up the middle on that defense, to be honest.
No, it's a 100-yard field, goal line to goal line. But the one thing, when I look at the San Francisco offense, they use that 53 1/3 across very well. Just trying to find
they do.
Trying to get 3-on-2s. Almost like a hockey team. trying to get that 3-on-2 against you, looking for that odd man rush to be able to get a play because they're very good at blocking downfield, and that's where they're allowed to get their yak. So that's another thing is being a solid tackling team and getting off your blocks if you're an Eagles defensive back for this game, because this is a team that gives it up. Somebody else is getting the ball. My job is to block and make sure he gets to the end zone. Everything's targeted for the end zone. So that's it's one of the interesting things. And I just remember it from the game a couple of years ago up here where they were just throwing the ball, to the boundary outside and just reestablishing the edge. That's all they were doing. And dicing and slicing. And I'm wondering if they're going to try to do that with some quick passes today. Not to really have to protect. Get it outside. And also, it might kind of neutralize because, if you have, like I said, that 3-on-2 outside, what do you do? That's what it comes down to. They look at it like a hockey or a basketball coach will do, the man advantage. And that's something really important to look into in this game.
Absolutely. I agree. San Fran definitely up the field. They're a great blocking team. They rely on yak, which is what Purdy's really lived off of, those 5-yard little quick slants, and then Kittle, Ayuk, Debo going 50, 60 yards down the field. So we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Do you think that San Fran linebackers can tackle Hurts? This guy seems very intelligent. This guy right here. This right here is
my man.
Human being. We kind of love this guy.
Yep.
Duval. I'm sorry about last week, but I was pulling for you. You got a future to look forward to.
Me too. Yeah, he does.
All right, so the question is, do you think that the San Fran linebackers can tackle Hurts near the goal line with Philly's O-line and Hurts being a bigger quarterback?
I think so. They're probably that's probably the best tackling team in football, so I would say so. I think the RPO is going to be a big part of the game plan, even down near the goal line, similar to when Nick Foles was in Philadelphia. It's just the way they play, so you don't want to just run into those guys. You want to cause some confusion, some good play designs to draw them away from where you're planning to put the ball.
Yeah, that's what it is, play design. That's pretty much what the Shanahan tree is. Try to beat you with cuteness.
Yep.
Who is someone we'll be talking about under the radar for these two teams afterwards? Like San Fran won, but this guy had a shockingly good game, or Philly won, and I think he was one of the keys. So where would you go each way?
Yeah, it's a great question. If I had to pick one on each side for Philadelphia, I'll go Quez Watkins, the number 3 wide receiver. I think he's just going to go up the seams, and I think he's going to catch a bomb today for a touchdown. He's going to catch the defense slipping. I think when Ofunga, he likes to blitz a lot. I think if he's on the same side as Ofunga, he sees if he could read that, just go flying, man. On San Fran, I would say – I wanted to say Pierce, but I don't even think he's going to be active, the rookie running back, because they called up Tevin Coleman. San Fran. It's like you already know they're dominant guys, what they're going to do. I'll say Jawan Jennings, I guess.
All right, so the guy we talked about earlier, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I think if they win this game, he has double-digit tackles. And you know what that means? They were tackling people and not allowing big plays in the yak that San Francisco can kill people with. On the San Fran side, I think it's Ayuk. I think he has to – I'm sure it's going to be Slay on number 1. He's got to find a way to beat Bradbury in coverage. And that he has some slip-ups. Bradbury's a good player, but he had some slip-ups. And you had talked about Maddox possibly being – active. We'll have the actives and actives for you in 16 minutes. Yeah, I put both channels on NFL Network. That was bright, so I'll be able to see everything. See it twice.
Nice. I think Avante Maddox is gonna play because he's not on the injury report. Obviously, he probably has to test it out, but I think he's returning though 100%. I think it's a clean slate for both teams, to be honest.
That would be good.
Elijah Mitchell, I think he's the question mark though.
Yeah, no, to see them both at full health at the end of the year is very rare.
I know.
Very rare at this point in the
Seriously.
season that your injury report is that small. Guys are dinged up. Maybe it ain't on the report, but
Exactly.
so prediction time.
So I've been saying this all week. I have it 27-17, the Eagles winning, sending the Niners home crying, similar to last year when they invaded SoFi Stadium, and it felt amazing to see them leaving and crying. Buddy, as you know, I am not a Niner fan. I'm the furthest thing from it, so I will enjoy watching this game as if I am an Eagles fan for today. So, yeah, fly Eagles, fly.
All right. I'm coming down to it right now. I have been debating all week. Legitimately. I can see reasons either team can win a close game. I guarantee it's a close game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be shocked if there's anything over 7 points. I am going to be completely shocked in this one. I think somebody has the ball in their hand at the end trying to score. It's under 2 minutes, and we're at the edge of our seat at the 2-minute warning. Just like, who's going to the Super Bowl? 2 minutes left. We'll hear a comment like that. As I think about things, I am going to go with the home team. I am going to go with Philadelphia. If you saw that crowd in the baseball playoffs, how crazy they were, and these people are tailgating it 10 hours before, they're going to be ready to eat their young. It's going to be a real home field advantage. I think Brock Purdy, his pulse doesn't get over 75. I don't think a lot rattles him, but today may be the day where the situation is just too big, and he does a good job, but it just doesn't happen. I'm going to go Eagles 27-24.
Nice.
In this one.
All right.
But
so we're both on the same boat.
So I really do think Purdy is going to impress. He's better than Trey Lance, period.
Oh,
anybody wants to argue that. If
100%.
I'm the Niners, you got to look back at that trade, and it was a mistake. They found an established guy as Mr. Irrelevant, who just comes from a good pro system, and Matt Campbell deserves all the respect in the world at Iowa State for what he puts in this league for quality NFL players. Not super huge, big name guys, but just consistent guys who are on rosters who contribute, who people wear their jersey and know they're on the team. That's the way I look at that. AFC, which you can watch on DirecTV. Fix it, DirecTV, Fox 64. Still.
Let them know.
Cynthia Casey, how important do you think Isaiah Pacheco is to Mahomes' knee and keeping the ball away from Burrow? Because, it's not often you say, the Chiefs have to keep the ball away from another team. They can just go out there and score. But this is a team that can probably do that. So what do you think of Isaiah Pacheco and what he's brought as a different element to the Chiefs?
I think Isaiah Pacheco has been a phenomenal running back. He was a sleeper. And once he got his opportunities with CEH out, he took it and ran. He runs hard. He runs physical. And against a team like Cincinnati, that's what you're going to need to do because those guys in Cincy can hit hard. That defense is very underrated. Mm-hmm. From linebackers to D-line. The only weakness is Eli Apple, but he talks like he's the greatest of all time.
Ohio State thing. It's got to be an Ohio State thing.
It has to be. It has to be. And I don't know, like Isaiah Pacheco will definitely have to play a big role, Jerick McKinnon. But from what I've seen from Mahomes and like his press conferences and his practices, he's not limping as much now as he was during that game. So I think he's they're going to be a lot better off than I thought originally after seeing the injury.
Yeah, I think they can dress it up in practice and not have him doing as much too. I mean,
That's true.
Mac Wilson was out there like 3 days later, pretending, and he was nowhere near playing. So I said
True.
Mac Jones, right? Not Mac Wilson. So
Yeah, Mac Jones. Yep.
the greatest quarterback ever, according to some. No, I think those two guys are very important. But I'm glad you brought up McKinnon too, because he's been a godfind. And the thing I like they said about him in the game is he's so into the game plan that he can actually make the offensive line calls from the running back position because he was a quarterback in college. Just that's how intuitive, and he's just very knowledgeable about the game. And he sits on in quarterback meetings too. And a player like that, I should have given him more credit, and that wasn't fair of me not to include him in the question for what he is. But again, not a big name guy, but one of those guys who's going to play in the league a long time and be productive because he's heady.
Yep.
The Chiefs drafted on defense for these big games against Cincinnati and Buffalo. Can they match up? And I look, 21 overall goes at corner, 7th round pick at corner. Karlaftis at the end of the first round is part of the pass rush. They wanted to add to Clark and Jones. And, the safety position is still a little bit of a concern with this team. That's where I think you can attack them. I think they're all good safeties. I don't think any of them really stand out. But, they drafted on defense. What do you think of matching up on the Kansas City side?
So, yeah, McDuffie, their rookie cornerback from Washington, he's been actually pretty good. Snead is the guy that seems to be getting attacked. He's the guy that's allowed the most receptions in football this year. And you have Reed at safety, who they brought in to replace Tyrone Matthew.
Yep.
From Houston. Yep. So they have some weapons. A big part is you can't cover all three of those wide receivers in Cincinnati. It's definitely your pass rush, mainly Chris Jones, who's going to have to really cause some mayhem in Burrowhead, as he said it multiple times in his press conference I watched. So that just tells me this defense is really going to – Cincinnati's talking a lot of crap, and Kansas City's putting it on the bulletin board. So, as you mentioned, they drafted guys on defense to beat those two teams because you're not going in the playoffs without facing Burrow, Allen, or Mahomes. Those days
and
are
now
over.
you got to throw in Trevor Lawrence too.
Yes, you do. Yeah, especially with Calvin Ridley next year. So that team's going to be good. Their defense was good this year.
People have forgotten about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, they have.
Good. Zach hit it. What I was going to do next. Chris Jones against the O-line. Does he have to go Jeffrey Simmons against the Bengals last year to really wreck this game? Is he capable of that?
Oh, he definitely is. He had 15 sacks as a defensive tackle. Legit defensive tackle, not like Aaron Donald plays on the whole line. He'll play D end and D tackle. Chris Jones just stays in that middle, and he causes mayhem. So he's going to eat them alive today. He's not a guy you want to get angry. He's a guy that could take two players and just pancake them and put them in the ground. So I think the way he was talking in these press conferences and saying Burrowhead, he's very upset. I predicted him to actually have over 1.5 sacks today. Could be 2, could be 3. I'm not going to be surprised. Their offensive line's hurting in Cincinnati, and that works against Buffalo without Von Miller. Their pressure rate was one of the worst in the football once he left, but it's going to be tough against a team with 55 sacks, which was only second behind Philadelphia's 70, at home when you've been talking crap all week. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it should be. So what did Chris Jones exactly say? I didn't.
He said he brought it up at the end of his press conference. He brought it up a few times, and then at the end he said, as he was walking off, he's like, "All right, I'll see y'all at Burrowhead," and just literally walked away, like dropped the mic, boom, like so they're hearing it. Sometimes players don't listen to media and social media, but they definitely using that in the bulletin. I guarantee you they had Burrowhead signs everywhere that week. And they're like, okay.
So I have to ask, 3 matchups. It's been 3-0. They've been some great football games. Unbelievable football games. And 2 of them, Casey was able to jump out pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
And Cincinnati turned the tide. So Cincinnati isn't going to fear falling apart early. They're very mentally tough. And we go back to last year's game, halftime, not scoring before the half. That changed everything. Bieniemy and Mahomes get into it in the locker room. They come out and they lose that game and prove that you don't have to have the ball first to win a game in overtime. Sometimes you can make a defensive play.
Right.
So, thank you, Buffalo Bills, for crying.
Seriously. Josh Allen's crybaby. Yeah.
So, can Hendrickson and Hubbard put enough outside pressure to impact a hobbled Mahomes?
They for sure can. Wilson at linebacker also. They have the guys. And then they got the underrated. I think you're going to see a lot of Hilton blitzing out of the nickel again, just like he did versus the Bills. He's the guy they're going to have to watch, and it's definitely going to cause some head games because you could see him on the line. Now you have to prepare. All right, you have to read, do I have a backer on that side just in case he does blitz now? I need that to be picked up. Hendrickson and Hubert are probably 2 of the most underrated defensive linemen in football. They literally won the game. Hendrickson won the game. Oh, no, it was Hubbard, right? That got the – yeah, it was Hubbard.
Logan Wilson tipped it out, and he caught it and ran.
Yeah, it was Hubbard. Yeah, so, I mean, that defense has playmakers. We talk about the offense so much, but the defense is what really helped them versus the Ravens, making big plays. So, yeah, I would say they're going to have to put pressure for sure. I would say you're going to have to blitz a lot on Mahomes, especially if he is showing that he's limping in this game, because you don't want a mobile Mahomes to destroy you. So,
all right, position I like, doesn't get enough credit in this league, off the ball linebacker. In this game, Logan Wilson and a guy who's emerging. He might be one of my top 5 favorite players in the league, Akeem Davis-Gaither. And watch him on special teams too. He's the first guy down there, and he's laying the wood. Maybe the breast. Wow, that's how you get kicked off the air. The best thing I've ever read draft profile is somebody wrote about him. I don't know who it was, and I'm sure you can Google it and you know right away. What is he like? He's like a feral cat trying to fight off animal control. I thought that was the greatest observation of all time. He's feisty. He ain't going to put up with it. He ain't going to get cornered. And you can tell it on the field. He plays that way, and he's so athletic. I think he's a very important guy today. And on the other side, Willie Gay and Nick Bolton. Proof that speed is huge at that position and can help cover up mistakes. What do you think of these players? And maybe, Leo Chanel we can add too.
Yeah, I like Akeem Davis-Gaither. He's super fast. Ran a 4.40, so guy has sideline to sideline speed. And then Wilson, it's not the fastest guy, but he's a sure tackler who can hold his own in the middle. And Gay and Bolton. Gay is just a monster, man. He's another guy that he's hearing all the chirping, so he was talking a little crap too about Cincinnati. Guy's freaking his shoulders are huge, man. The guy's just a muscle machine. So he's another guy that could just lay the wood. Bolton's great. I think Steve Spagnuolo is coaching a good defense in Kansas City, something he couldn't do when he was with the Rams in St. Louis. He was a horrible head coach for us, but as a defensive coordinator, I think with what he's had in Cincinnati, he's making a lot of guys with no names a pretty solid defense, underrated defense that usually does show up in the playoffs. So, yeah, I think ADG definitely could be an impact player. In this game, as you mentioned, he's only 24 years old, so a lot of people don't even know about him. And then Gay and Bolton, I'm sure people do know about them, but yeah, it'll be a good test for both linebackers against these two offenses.
When I think of ADG, I think if you line him up on the same side as Hilton, and you send Hilton and stop mixing up these blitz, he has the quickness. He can fill pretty fast in the tackling ability. He can hold it to, if they're throwing to the hot read, to really make it a short game. And I think that's where he could be very important in this game.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, we're prediction time. I've known where I've been going for 3 weeks.
This one to me was the harder of the two games. Sure, Cincinnati's 3-0 versus them, but there's got to be a point where you end that streak. And what better time than in the AFC Championship game after they beat you last year? They're a hungry team to get back to the Super Bowl. Mahomes knows if he wants to be in that Brady conversation, he needs more than just this one Super Bowl he won. I'm going to go a nail biter, so 28-27 Kansas City. I think they finally get over this Burrow curse.
I think things stay the same, and I'm trying to kill time to the inactives because I know they're coming out any second now. 30-20 Cincinnati. I don't see a way Kansas City wins this game. I don't know what it is. It could be a honk. It's the Joe Burrow thing. I think their defense, I think they got a lot of chips on their shoulder. They kind of caught a lot of shafting from the NFL, kind of disrespected, and they're playing off that. They definitely are. And if they go in with the mentality they went in last week with, which is, we're collecting rent here, boys. This is our house. So
if they lose, man, that would be horrible for Mahomes. If he can't get over Burrow again, it's like, oh God. Cincinnati's probably going to run the AFC. If they win, if they get back to Super Bowl again, it's like, dude, with their beat up offensive line, I mean, they're going to have to pay Burrow eventually. They're going to have to pay Higgins eventually, Chase. But for the meantime, KC wins again the Super Bowl. Oh, God. Well, then I'll have to be a Chiefs fan if that's the case.
Oh, God. Every week for you.
I know. My God. I don't know. I see Philadelphia, Kansas City, personally. Nothing would surprise me. It's football.
Yeah, no, it's I'm typing in inactives. I don't need the Bills inactives. That was a week ago.
Yeah, their whole. Well, hey, at least Hamler made an appearance, so now the conspiracy's over. Of a stunt double.
Oh,
I was at the game. I was like, I doubt everybody would be on board with.
No, they would never do that. That's
not someone that big name.
Nope. I won't accept that at all.
So it was good that he made his appearance and shut everyone up, and now they're just going to go into hiding into the next conspiracy.
Trying to get
yeah.
Let's keep talking.
So Elijah Mitchell, that's who I really. Is there anything on him? I'm going to look now.
I just typed in. Adam Schefter.
Because if they called up Tevin Coleman, San Fran's not gonna. They're gonna get depth on the D line. They're not gonna waste Tevin Coleman unless they know Elijah's out, right? I mean, that's what I think.
I mean, it's you're allowed to call up, so I mean, at least have it, or you dress them both.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sit somebody
Gotta be
else
hurt.
down. You have to have two backs, especially with
Right.
McCaffrey, because we know the background and injury history there.
And his is a groin. Elijah's had the groin injury. CMC, I knew he was going to play. It was a calf, but he didn't look good last week. I feel Dallas exposed San Fran, to be honest, on their offense. But Dak Prescott turned into the Prescott we all know. So,
yeah, like going back and forth between Schefter and Rappaport here, and Pelissaro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because they should have the inactives, right? It's usually 90 minutes before.
Yeah, I don't know if it's officially a 3:05 kickoff, so it'll be coming out now.
Oh, all right.
That's my only my thought. Usually they're pretty quick with it.
I'm excited to see the Philly fans and the San Fran fans. Like, I already know I put something on Twitter, over under 50 knockouts between those two fan bases. Everyone's like, way over, way over. I was like, yeah, I said knockouts, not just a punch. Mitchell is out.
You got him?
Zach just said it. Mitchell is out.
If he knows who has the full inactives list. We would have just had you on the show, Zach, if I knew you were available.
I know.
I would have watched you guys. Yeah, I'm just.
Wow, so Mitchell is out. All right.
I wonder if they just know that part is definite. The whole group.
Right.
I'm curious about some certain matchups with this. And of course, we won't have the other one till.
That's a big loss because it seems like they've been using him more as a running back, especially in the fourth quarter. Versus CMC, who seems to be being used more in like the pass catching role and his touches here and there.
Yeah, inactives usually dictate the game plan. What you think the other team's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of strategy to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they don't even have it on the bottom line. Just other NFL stuff. Kind of weird. Do you think Rodgers is getting traded?
It's like, I think so. And Hackett going to the Jets after being the OC in Green Bay with Rodgers, that would be a likely spot. He has some young weapons, a great defense. Great defense. Saleh is the head coach there. I think it's time. I think he's going to be gone, and I think Green Bay should do it too. They don't need to keep paying this guy just to be an average team. They have no wide receivers. So
how much do you think they're giving up? Oh, I got the. Hold on 1 second. I do have the inactives for the 49ers.
Sweet.
Jimmy Garoppolo, Tyrion Davis-Price, so another running back who's inactive. Elijah Mitchell, Ross Dwelly, the tight end, back offensive lineman Nick Zakelli. Drake Jackson is inactive, and cornerback Ambry Thomas. Kind of surprised about Drake Jackson. You'd want.
Yeah, he's young. He's an athletic edge guy.
Yeah, that one kind of surprises me. And
was it healthy and active?
How much they're leaning on Tevin Coleman, or how much they're leaning on CMC today? Because something 90%. Goes down, you're legitimately rolling out Tevin Coleman. Yeah,
Deebo Samuel's probably going to get a lot of carries today.
Yeah, he may be moving back there and they, doing their thing. And that was part of the squabble last year with the contract.
I know, and he's having a pretty rough year this year. He was injured too, but he's not really doing much this year, to be honest.
These are the games that make legends, though. That's he's a threat every time he touches the ball. Let me tell you, I'm looking at the draft. Mm-hmm. Check out Zay Flowers and tell you he doesn't remind you a lot of Debo.
He's a wide receiver?
Yeah, a kid from Boston College. He reminds me so much of him, his style, what he does. Okay, Eagles and actives. Ian Book. Oh, Forget it. Josiah Scott, Trey Sermon, Anthony Harris, Kyron Johnson, Josh Sills. So
Nobody.
super significant. Yeah, I was
Trey Sermon, I
concerned,
wanted the
but
comeback game.
Ian Book will be eating in the press box. Good for him. It's probably going to be a good meal for a championship week. Trey Sermon, he's a stash type guy anyway.
Yeah.
On their roster, they're probably not until Miles Sanders leaves. Really developing him or seeing what goes on there. So that's the inactives we have for those two.
Elijah's probably the biggest one, to be honest.
Yeah, no, Mitchell is Mitchell out. Huge.
Drake Jackson too. That was a sleeper because they had that one defensive end that had the domestic charge this week. So I thought Drake Jackson was gonna.
Yeah, no, you would expect that. So whatever's happened there hasn't really affected what's going on the field. So, all right, we got you ready. Got you the inactives.
Yep.
Talk to people. Gonna go make my dinner and enjoy the games. And Fox 64, DirecTV, fix it. Maybe a miracle today. People pop on, but you're hurting businesses and it sucks. It's not fair.
It isn't fair.
Think about the little people sometimes.
Yep.
All right. For Shay, I'm Buddy. This is Ear to the Ground Sports. Tomorrow, join First Formation at 10 a.m., which should be a doozy. I may get online and wait for that at 9:30. I told them the other day I got popcorn out, and I don't even like popcorn because we have the Eagles versus the 49ers on a show. And
can't wait.
Trey told me he was going to keep it quiet all week and, kind of his strategy. So seeing those guys tomorrow morning is going to be awesome. Can't wait. Appointment television. Thanks again for all the subscriptions. Don't be afraid to share. Tell your friends to subscribe. Tell your enemies to subscribe. All right? So you can argue over what we say. Have yourselves a great day. Enjoy conference championship game. And see you for First Formation, 10 a.m.